We'll call this public hearing to order. Note that all members but for Ms. Rhonda Sluss are present, including County Administrator Mr. Barton, County Attorney Mr. Sturgill, and Madam Clerk Teresa Lyle. If we will, join together here for a word of prayer as we begin the meeting. Heavenly Father, we come before you humble and thankful for this day you've given us. Dear Lord, we thank you for the rain, for the nourishment of our soul here in Dickinson County. We ask for wisdom upon this board and our members and staff as we make decisions for the betterment of Dickinson County. Ask for a special blessing, please, dear Lord, over Rhonda and her husband Joe Glenn as he seeks medical treatment here today. Ask you to bless their family for peace and comfort and guidance as we miss her in her absence here on this board. Heavenly Father, I ask that all things we do here are pleasing to you and that you have give us guidance and direction on how to lead Dickinson County. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Ron, do you want to?
Yeah, we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I would note for the public that Ms. Sluss wants to be here, would like to be here. It's not, she's avoiding this public hearing. Her family's had a medical issue come up, so they are in our thoughts and prayers, and she would be here and wants to be here, and but she has more important things to do with her family, so ask the public to keep them in their thoughts and prayers, and just note that she would be here if at all possible, but she cannot. So I think that's important to let the public know. But moving on, we have an agenda. I know we don't have the agenda piece on our budget to approve it, but has everyone seen the agenda? And is it okay to, does the agenda look okay? And if so, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there any other discussion or additions or subtractions? Is there a second to Mr. Peters' motion?
I'll second his motion.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Larry, do you want to go on to item number 3 and do a brief overview of the budget?
I can. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, this purpose of this meeting is to offer an opportunity for the public to provide comment on the budget. And I'd like to take this moment to share a little bit of information about the budget. We're pleased to present our proposed operating budget for fiscal year 22 in the amount of $27,017,132. This is about a 6.4% increase over our current year's budget. But with this budget, it provides for the operating needs of the county, and it includes no new taxes or tax increases in this budget, a 5% raise for all the full-time employees of the county. It maintains all the departments and positions in the county. It allows for capital replacement of police cars and allowance towards replacement of a garbage truck. And it increases the coverage, it doubles the insurance coverage for our volunteer fire and rescue workers to $50,000. And of course, with our proposed coal and road gas fund budget, it's $2,851,000. There's no change to it from the current year. And with our proposed enhanced E911 budget for fiscal year 22, it is $839,093. That is about $340,000 more than the current year. But the big change in that is, as you look at our other departments within the budget, you'll see some departments it may look like there's increases, some may look like significant increases. The biggest portion in that is due to our auditors. They have kind of changed the way we have to account for our health insurance benefits for employees. They all used to go into the non-departmental category, and now that has to be split out categorically by department. So that's why the increases look larger in some than others, and that was the major difference in the E911. And then there's some increased software expenses. But, that's kind of an overview of the budget, and Mr. Chair, I'll turn it back over to you for public comment or answer any questions the board has.
Any members have questions or comments to Mr. Barton, or any other comments in general? Okay, at this time, if there's not any, I'll turn the floor over to the public. Of course, any person here present physically is welcome to make a comment, approach the podium, as well as a telephonic comment. And before anybody approaches the podium that would like to speak, I'm going to read this number as well so we can get the line started if there are people that call. The number is 276-333-0357. That is for a telephonic public remark on the proposed 2021-2022 budget. 276-333-0357. So at this time, the podium, the physical podium is open and the telephone lines are open. If you'll just state your name and you'll be given 3 minutes to address the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Phyllis Collins, and I'm here this evening to address what I perceive to be some misleading conclusions being drawn by Dickinson County Public School employees and some of the community as a whole. While I hope this was not intentional, I feel I would be derelict in my duty to leave them unaddressed. And it was noticed that no other county department received the same focus as the Dickinson County Public Schools. As a professional, I make it a policy to not participate in social media drama. But I had several people urge me to view a recent video on Facebook created by the Board of Supervisors. While I found the video to be informative in nature, I did find instances of what I do believe to be misleading wording, which might possibly lead to some inaccurate conclusions being drawn by some folks. Number one, 5% raise given to Dickinson County Public School employees due to Board of Supervisors budget. I'm trying to hurry. The fact is, the budget passed by the school board at its March meeting and presented to you on April the 1st included a 5% raise for all teachers and staff, as did every amended budget sent to you thereafter. Number two, reappropriation of funds. The generosity displayed by the Board of Supervisors in allowing the school system to carry over a little over $1 million is extremely appreciated. It is, however, not money the Board of Supervisors could keep and use. In fact, it was mostly state money that, if not reappropriated to the school system, would have to be returned to the Virginia Department of Education and would not have benefited Dickinson County, its students, citizens, or businesses in any manner. Simply stated, it would just be lost to us. I've been around a long time and I've been through a lot of budget seasons. The term required local match has resonated many times, and even this year when I attended a budget workshop and heard the alarming phrase, I was assured by people sitting here this evening that I had nothing to worry about. And unfortunately, I now perceive that I have grave concerns. I am concerned that now that the Board of Supervisors has attained the goal, that it will become the norm. The effects of this year's local budget, match budget will reverberate in budgets of the future for years to come, as it will its detrimental results on our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins, do we have any calls?
None so far.
Okay. Podium, physical podium is open for the next person that would like to make a remark.
Good evening, Harry Childers. Just a few comments I will make, and the first one is not relative to tonight, but it's relative to some comments that I have made to some of the board members, and was brought up at your last meeting, right at the end of the board meeting. I still want to encourage you to make donations from your recreation accounts. to the Ridgeview Band. They need that. They use that. That's from students in every one of your districts that are playing in that band. They had I don't know if you had a chance to do it, had an excellent outdoor concert at the breaks. They did an extremely good job. You have a dynamic, hardworking band director now that's really going to try to improve this band, improve it and make it a whole lot better. You got to look at it. They're using some instruments that were donated to the county from UVA Wise. Now, if you've got those and you don't have the other ones, I know the school board has worked to bring some help with that. Some other ones are. I'm trying to help a little bit through some contacts with some industries and businesses in the county to try to do that. But I would encourage that, anyone watching or anywhere else, to help that band, every little bit. People don't realize it. $100 contributions, $1,000. So that helps. So I would appreciate you all considering that. I guess I am. I've missed some of your meetings, but I presume we have another budget without a countywide garbage collection fee. This is 2 budget cycles that the new members have gone through, and for some of the older members, you've gone through several budget cycles. And I would dare say that we may be the only county in the area that doesn't have one. Buchanan County instituted one this year. So you're losing, I'd say just a very light estimate would be $500,000 of low-hanging money that you could get that I'm paying twice for. As a resident, Chairman Evans is paying twice for, as a resident of the town of Clintwood, we're paying for it, but residents of the other localities in this county are getting them picked up free. And your trash trucks pass by my house to do it. So I think it's something we need to work on. We need to dig our heels in, make that decision, have a backbone, and go after that fee to help offset and some other ones. I heard at the last school board meeting, Superintendent Robinson make a comment about some money they were trying to get approval to build some additional classrooms at Ridgeview Elementary, to make that, all right, Ms. Robinson, and to make that an inclusive elementary when it opens. Well, I'm gonna challenge the board. Look at your coal severance tax. You need to look and see what you can do to free that coal severance tax up for projects in this county. Ron, you've said this for how long? I've heard you for years. That's what needs to be done, and it's what needs to be looked at. Our coal severance tax has kept our real estate tax and our personal property tax artificially low because of that, at an artificial figure, and that money has offset that. And that money, being in a bank and an account, could do a lot of things to help this county, and by using that money in conjunction, if the school board gets the money they want to do, you could have a combined elementary school on campus. Just curious, we raised taxes, was it 4 cents 3 or 4 years ago? I think it was done.
I think so.
Was it? And so where's that money? What's happened to that? Have we lost it? Where is that increase in for that? The previous board, I guess, wasn't it, Shelby, that
I can't remember when
passed
they-
it? You did? Maybe, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But
what
I'm
we
just
did.
curious. We raised that. That was supposed to help offset, balance the budget with 2 cents, if I remember the discussion, and 2 cents were supposed to help do some other projects. So what are we doing with it? Where's it at? How can we better use that we do? Basically that, I want to encourage you again to really consider what you're doing. Look at what you have to. I know nobody wants to raise taxes, but that severance tax is going to be there for a while, even though it's substantially less than it's ever been in this county. But it's going to be there for a while. The metallurgical coal market's looking better. It goes up and down, as it always will. But with this, you could have an account that would help you look at funding things that you need to when the time comes. And the reason I want you to look at that and fund and help build a new elementary school, we paid how many millions of dollars to build a justice center. I equate that to an old motor oil commercial a long time ago that we saw on TV. Pay me now or pay me later. So let's invest that money in our schools as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Childers. Mr. Mullins, any calls? Read the number again, that I can't ever remember.
333.
276-333-0357 for calls in the physical podium is open as well for anyone that'd like to come and make a comment.
Good evening, board members and Mr. Chair. Thank you for this opportunity. I have served as the division superintendent since 2009, and during that time, the Board of Supervisors have each year, through difficult and challenging budgets, have proudly invested and funded educating the children above the required minimum state requirement. The school division has worked with the Board of Supervisors to find a way to resolve our differences and ultimately come together as a county to do the best job possible to educate the children of Dickson County. It's important to remember that the budgeting process is set up in a way that naturally creates some conflict. It is the school board's job and my job to be advocates for the children we serve and for our employees. It's the Board of Supervisors' job to look at the broader picture and decide how much of the limited resources should be invested in education. This year, the Board of Supervisors is only appropriating the state's required minimum local match of $4,742,749 to the school system. We have unspent state funds of approximately $1 million that are being allowed to carry over for a total appropriation of approximately 5.7. Below are some noteworthy points. This is the first time in my tenure, and I've looked back for several years. Can't go back that far, but the school division has been funded only at the minimum level. We have gone from local appropriations of funding in FY20 of $7 million to FY22 local appropriations of 4.7, excluding carryover funds. FY20, the local school appropriations have decreased $2,257,251, excluding carryover funds. With approximately 80% of our budget directed to employee salary and benefits, the impact will be felt by our employees, our students that we serve, not only now, but for years to come. The no-loss funding, the Learning Loss Instructional Fund support, and the ADM reconciliation of over $1 million were given to school divisions, excuse me, to provide additional academic, social, and mental health support for our children to help them regain what has been lost during the pandemic. While neighboring school divisions are hiring additional staff, such as interventionists, specialists, counselors, and special ed teachers, for the purpose of individualizing learning and to provide the much-needed resources to our children. Unfortunately, for the Dickson County Schools, because of the limited local match, these funds will be diverted to other critical areas, and our students will not receive the full intended benefits of these funds. As a matter of fact, we have lost staff to other school divisions who are hiring additional staff with this funding. This one fact to me, that we're not able to use the no-loss funding, the Learning Loss Instructional Fund support, and the ADM reconciliation, is the saddest outcome and the most troubling, because our children will not receive the same resources that other students are. The school board has available ESSER 3 funds in the amount of $6.4 million. Currently, we are seeking guidance from VDOE about using approximately $5 million of these funds for the construction of additional classrooms in the new elementary school. We understand that 20% of this $6.4 million or $1.2 million must be used for student learning loss and must be expended by 2024. Last week, we received further guidance, and it appears that ESSER III funds may be used for new construction. We are in discussions now, at this time, with the Virginia Department of Education and SCANSCA to see how this can be accomplished. As we move forward, the school board will work closely with the Board of Supervisors and the IDA as more information is received to present this information. In conclusion, these are all challenging times, but we are very blessed. We have a beautiful school that the county owes nothing for. In recent years, through the hard work of all of our employees, our students' academic progress has flourished, and it's my hope that we can continue to find a way to work through the differences and support education to the fullest possible extent. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mullins, any phone calls? None yet. Leave the podium open for another moment for public comment.
Is there anything I need to clarify on any of these?
Yes, please.
Comments while we're waiting?
I would ask you to do that, Larry, please.
I was trying to make some notes as Ms. Mullins was speaking about the 5% raise being misstated by the video. I will agree the title is perhaps misleading in the video. I don't recall anything said in the video that the county had given that, but the money for that, it is part of the RLM instead of RLE. It's an optional program that the schools participated in. There is a match that the county has to pay towards that to qualify for the 5%. And then as far as the reappropriation of funds, the carryover funds, I guess to give a little more background about that. And of course, Mr. Sturgill represents school boards and things. It's my understanding that in the past, the only state funds that were allowed to carry over would be textbook funds. But this year, due to COVID, there's been an exception, and the state will allow carryover of additional state funds. But I guess it goes a little deeper. We have to go back and look, because it's come up when Ms. Robinson spoke as well. As far as when the money comes into the schools, whether it be state, local, federal, whatever the funding source is, it's all commingled into one account. It's really hard to determine which is which unless it's a reimbursement for a specific program that you're using those dollars to do. And the biggest part of the state carryover funds actually go back to a difference in the ADM calculation, all but about 113,000, I think, go back to an ADM miscalculation at the state level on that. And it can be looked at a lot of different ways. The county funded more than was required, more than RLM this current year. So actually, at our 29th meeting, the board is going to have to, reappropriate those monies to you, those additional state funds to you as part of the budgeting process. One option to do when the local board pays more than required, they can appropriate those funds and then reduce the amount of local funds that went, or they can just reappropriate the state funding to you and let that be part of your carryover that comes in as your carryover later. So it's really not just cut and dry that it's extra money given for a specific purpose, because most of that money was ADM, which ADM is going to be average daily membership. It's going to have to do with the enrollment. The state paid at a higher enrollment than what the county actually had, because they paid based on the estimates they had a year ago of what students they thought would be there. That's the main difference in money. There was some learning loss monies in there, a little over $100,000, but the majority of it, like I said, was for the other. So,
Mr. Barton,
Yes, sir.
wouldn't that also apply if there's a loss in ADM?
Yes.
Then that formula would also say the local match went down too.
Yes, it would. It would say the
Okay.
local match went down if the inverse occurred on that, because it's all related. Everything's tied back with ADM on the state.
Mr. Barton, could you read the numbers, please, if you have them, of our surrounding localities, what their RLM is and what they're funding their local school board?
I do have, as far as this was, I don't have a date on this. This has been probably a month ago when I spoke with them. Of course, Dickinson's RLM is $4,742,749, and that is the amount that's in the budget, not counting the carryover. Buchanan County's RLM was $6,846,949, and at the time I spoke with Mr. Horn, they were funding $153,051 more than RLM.
In fairness, they have since increased that, I think,
I think they
to
have.
600,000 more.
600,000 more.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Wise County, I think their number, their RLM was 11,166,272, and they were funding RLM of 308,675 over RLM, 308,675 over RLM.
So let's just stay with those two counties then, being our two adjoining counties. So with Dickinson County's carryover, we're funding more than $1 million in excess of RLM, whereas Wise County's funding $300,000 in excess of RLM.
Right.
Yet they are taking off our teachers allegedly. Just wanted to get clarification on that. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Public comments over.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
No, ma'am. Public comments over.
Thank you. I didn't hear a motion.
Well, I mean, you've already spoke. You already used your public comment, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we allow Ms. Robinson to speak again.
Is there a second? Sure, she can.
I think we
I'll
should
give her another 3
allow
minutes.
her the courtesy as being
Sure, Miss Robinson, sure. You can have the podium again if you are,
as her
or
being
back there or wherever you
superintendent of
want to be.
schools.
No, I'll come to the front so everybody can hear. First of all, the funds, we just amended the budget in May, so there was no commingling of funds with the instructional funds or the ADM. That's the first point. The other point is that Wise County has hired 14 special education teachers, approximately 13 additional staff with their funds to help them, help their children. We're not able to do that in Wise County. This fund that we have is going to help operate our budget for next year. Thank you.
Now, Ms. Robinson, I'll clarify on the commingling of funds. I'm just saying all the funds go into one account, all the federal, state, and local.
Can I ask if either Wise or Buchanan let their superintendent or their board carry over any excess funds that they had? Does anyone know that?
I'm not aware
don't
of
know
that.
That's a good question, but I don't know the answer.
I'm just curious if they let them carry over what they had besides giving them the
I want
extra
to say that Buchanan,
600,000
I want
or
to say that Buchanan County did, but I can't say that with any type of certainty.
you don't know how much it is?
And I don't know. I know that I'm almost certain that they did let them carry over. Don't know how much, and I can't say.
Do you know, Ms. Robinson?
No, ma'am. I know that Washington County counties were allowed to carry over funds, but
You don't know about Buchanan and Wise?
I don't know.
Ms. Willis, I'll try to find out
All right, thank
from
you.
the other administrators.
Any calls?
Because it's possible they gave them 600,000 over the RLM, but they may have let them carry over $1 million.
And I'll find out, I'll see what information I can get from the other counties on that and report that back to you guys.
I just, well, one thing I would say is that we specifically asked, I know I specifically asked numerous times what amount was needed to ensure that all staff would be funded at a current level. We were never actually given that specific number. However, given the methodical way our staff dissected the budget this year, I think it's a certainty that nobody will be laid off, that we're funding this at a level that'll ensure everyone keeps their job. And it's my understanding the ADM is going to be down approximately 50 students.
It
That,
is.
does anybody know the answer to that, Ms. Robinson? Is your
In the budget?
ADM going to be down approximately 50 students?
No, not for this year, sir.
Is it
The
going to be
budget was
up?
prepared at 1884.70, and the ADM for 2021 is 1880.70.
So about the same.
4 difference, yeah, or about the same, as far as based
So
on.
we're not adding
the
any
dollar
sort of
sheet.
students? Okay. All right,
Like
thank
4
you.
higher roughly.
Hey.
so.
Go ahead.
I have a comment, and this is more for you, Larry, so you understand, it was indicated that the taxes were raised about 4 cents. In 2012, when they did the reassessment was, high on all the properties, so they were able to lower the tax rates. They lowered it to like around 56 cents. They realized a year or so later that they, overshot it, so they raised it back up a couple cents. Now, then during last term, the assessments came in really low on that reassessment. So really, the tax was really brought back to what it used to be originally back then, before all that. And it was to accommodate continuing the same revenue stream that we were used to collecting on real estate.
Even without adjusting the tax rates, and speaking with the commissioner, our values go down each year, like in the real estate and the personal property particularly.
Maybe up this
So it's
year,
a
though.
declining stream, not a huge amount, a couple $100,000, but as of right now, using the same rates, it is. Going back to the comments, we don't have another call.
Do we have a call?
We had, as far as the hiring additional positions with the other counties and things, I don't know, from what I know about the state funding that was received this year, like I said, the majority was the no-loss funding, which is all strictly ADM, which has to do with the enrollment and the membership. Like I said, there's a small piece, a little over $100,000 for the learning loss. I would assume most of the hiring's done with the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds, but again, I'm speaking out of term on that, I don't know, but that's the intention of the COVID funds, is to come in and provide those additional supports out of that money. Because I don't know the numbers of the other counties, what they got on the no loss or anything, or not on the no loss, but on the learning loss funds.
Anybody else for a public comment? Any calls, Mr. Bolton? You want to keep public comment open?
I'm not.
Ms. Willis, do you want to keep?
I just want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
This makes me 14 years doing a budget. This is the lowest that we have ever funded the school system. And it's bothered me, it's troubled me, that this is the lowest that we have ever funded the school system. And I'll speak for Harry asking about the garbage fee. We have tried numerous ways to figure out how to put a garbage fee on. The only way we can possibly do it, because we have water that comes from Wise County in part of the county. We have water that comes from Buchanan County. It can't be added to our PSA because our PSA buys water from Buchanan County, plus they have customers with Buchanan County water. The only way we can do it is to hire a full-time employee to do the billing, and if you do that, you're not gonna collect half of what you would normally expect to collect. But we've looked at it in every way.
I know, but let me get, Josh, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
shouldn't speak.
No,
Just
go ahead.
one
No, I
thing,
mean, I addressed you,
being a
so that's
businessman
fine.
And going back to a gentleman in this county a long time ago, Mr. George Lincoln. My dad worked for George Lincoln. If you know, there wasn't any, probably sharper businessman than George was. Hey, you know him for a long time ago. You don't make money if you don't spend some money. And now, what's to spend $40,000 or $50,000 to collect $500,000? Look at that. Larry, you're a businessman, been in business for a long time. You take those odds all day long to do it, if I'm not mistaken. So look at that and see, folks. You've got to make, sometimes you have to spend a little to make some. And here, you're going to have multiples of what you're going to collect. And the other counties have figured it out. So don't tell me, we're as sharp as any of these other counties at figuring out how to do this, and we can. If we just want to do it, but we have to have the want to.
Don't we have less than 7,000 houses in the county?
That sounds about right.
Isn't it about 7,000?
That sounds about right. Maybe a little less.
I mean, you're counting,
And we
Yeah.
got
how many pickups do they do? Do you have any idea how many?
I don't.
I don't think they do. I mean, that's 7,000 countywide, and you're talking about the town of Clinwood already has a,
we got about
Fee.
600-ish, I think.
yeah. So
households. Ish.
you're just talking about maybe 6,500 houses.
But I understand that if Clintwood wasn't collecting it, we'd have a real trouble keeping our, what is the facility down at Fremont. That's what's helping pay a big part of that fee, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong.
What is
What
that?
are you
But the
talking
one
about?
thing that I have said, and I've talked to a lot of you all about, I'm being double taxed on. And I'm threatening going, and Josh, he's too,
I
he
know.
knows.
I've struggled
What
with
I'm
it,
talking
I'm telling
about is going to the town and saying, quit charging me and stop your trucks from picking my garbage up and coming to the county.
And I'll get it.
And telling the county, tell me what day I need to set my trash out and have your truck stop and pick my trash.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and you've also got the businesses that pay in this county, big fee, a whole lot more fee, pay in this town, a whole lot higher fee than the businesses in Hayside, which is picked up.
I pay
for free
twice.
By the county.
I
Okay,
pay for my
you do.
residents and my business. I
Right.
pay $40 a month in trash.
Okay,
Harry, you asked, about the fee that's paid, that keeps Fremont, explain that? 'Cause I may be able to answer
well,
that.
I mean, we're collecting it here and we have to transport it down there, I guess.
But we're not
Well,
charging
I'm not
you
sure.
a dumping fee,
Okay,
a poundage fee.
Go ahead.
So I guess your question is, are you thinking that you pay more down there?
no.
No,
I don't
no,
think we
okay,
all
I just
know.
wanted to make
said
sure.
what I
No,
have
they
heard
don't
in the
charge
past,
them.
that place would be in trouble if it wasn't for Clintwood picking the garbage up and taking it to it.
Why
No,
would they
don't-
be in trouble?
The Clintwood don't pay.
Yeah, they don't
We don't
pay.
pay?
No.
They
don't
do
pay.
not pay
Okay,
a,
Now, here,
no.
and I'll,
But you're still uneven in this county, because you're forcing some counties, or some residents of this county to be in double taxed and paying for a fee that the vast majority of this county residents get for nothing. And if you look at 7,000 homes at $10, Buchanan County did $10, folks. We need to look at $10, not 7. If you're talking about, look at what you're expending on your trucks, the roads you have to travel. That's $70,000 a month, times 12 is $840,000 a month, right there. That's over half of what you're expending right now in this budget.
ideally, you're right, it would be good if we could separate the two, but they're connected kinda. One thing I wanted to clarify, it's not free, nothing is free, cause this is money that people have to pay in through taxes to do this. And we did explore this, and I guess I would have been okay if the commercial at least was done, because but I don't know how to solve it yet. We were supposed to sit down and discuss this, but the thing is, the trash is a big item. But it isn't free. And if you start throwing a fee out there, it's gonna be hard what Shelby was saying is true, it's gonna be hard to collect it because we can't tie it. It's unfortunate that this county instituted a county program and then one of the towns instituted its own program. That's the thing, but going back, when we tried to do this last term, this, in the ordinance, that's the county ordinance for the trash, it said Clintwood was supposed to pay. And that was one of the things we cleared up, because they never really were paying.
Right.
So I just wanted you, and we took that out of the ordinance.
But you know, one employee, a clerical style employee, and I'm not putting clerical in, we can't make it without it, don't get me wrong. but the pay there is different than it is on a manager's basis or whatever. It's a small investment to collect $500,000 to
It's something
$800,000.
But you got
we've got a
postage.
committee and Corona.
We need to act.
COVID hit, and then I don't know what kind of appetite there is to frankly do it anyway, but I agree with everything you're saying. It's something I've thought a lot about personally, struggled with. But I pay twice. I pay at my home and at my business, so nobody knows the issue more than me.
We pay at our business and they don't pick up our trash, we take it off in town.
And it's not like you have a choice because, whereas I've not asked the council, but I don't use the trash that much in my office. I use it a lot more at home, but I pay double. I pay $18 in my office. And I don't know if I have a choice. It's on my water and sewer bill. And I think it's mandatory if you.
It is on there.
Whether I use it or not,
For the-
I pay $18.
That's ideally how you set it up, but the difficulty here is we've got multiple water entities.
Well, and I understand. I'm just saying I get it because I'm paying it. I know.
That's the dilemma.
I'll hush now, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to explain if you had a misunderstanding on that.
Yeah, but the town of Clement doesn't pay anything down there,
Yeah, they don't.
which is weird.
And I'll tell you,
Which
ideally,
is, we should put
I
back
would,
in.
I would love to see something where we could make it work.
Yeah.
And then when people go down there to drop their stuff, they've really already paid if they got a big item. That's what they do on the other side of the state. You got a washing machine you gotta get rid of or something like that. You drive up on the scale, they look at your address and say, oh, you're already one of our customers, and you don't. But it's just difficult to solve with this water issue. I'll leave it at that, cause there's nothing real. We
But
gotta.
your drivers know, but just think how much more
Yeah.
expense you would have if Clintwood Town all of a sudden said, we're not gonna pick it up anymore.
Well, they're making a
We're probably
profit.
just covering our expenses, and now the county has to pick up everything in the town.
Like the other two towns. Yeah. Any calls? Any other remarks? Your motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close it.
Anybody have anything else, Ms. Wills? Anything?
No, I have nothing
Ms.
else.
Kaiser?
Only thing I would like to mention is, back to Harry, where he mentioned in his, when he was up talking about adding more classrooms to the Ridgeview Elementary School, is that gonna be part of that 20-some million that they've already got? Is the design that was there, is the additional classrooms gonna open up for more kids to come there besides Sand Lick, with that being the replacement school for
Yes.
Sand Lick, or? Go ahead.
It'll be Stanley, Irving, and Glenwood.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know, I just, I picked that up.
Yes, you
Can
can.
Heidi answer me?
If you're asking, yes,
Okay.
ma'am, if she wants to, or it's up to her.
Okay.
Ms. Kaiser, I'll be glad to answer that question. I don't know that I have all of the facts.
Okay.
All we know is that SO3 funds can be used for construction,
Okay.
for additional classrooms for the elementary school at Ridgeview. If we are able to go through that, then what we want to try to use, that's funds for be able to place all three schools there. If we don't, you cannot use the ESSER funds, then we're not gonna be able to do that.
Okay.
So that is what the importance of the ESSER funds are, the ESSER 3 funds that has been mentioned. Our board is fully supportive of that, and have authorized me to look at all possible options, and we are, to get that involved.
But if at some point that does happen, it would include both other schools at some point in time, not just one in my area.
I'm not certain of that
Okay.
information at this time,
Okay.
but we feel that we have a greater chance of more students if additional classrooms are built.
Okay. Thanks.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
You had a motion and a second to close the comment, didn't you?
I don't
Got a
know.
motion.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All those in favor, well, let's check one more time. Any calls? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well. Public comment is over. We do have one last minute, addition, the Honey Camp easement. We discussed that a little bit previously. That's to allow some, timbering to go across the county, roadway on Honey Camp. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, we had Lehman and Larry went out there and looked at it and talked to the people, and it's not gonna interfere with the archery that's out
They
there.
should be driving on the road that's
I
already
make
there.
a motion,
so-
we approve it.
Helping keep the company pay the bills, so I'm all for it, so.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve it, Chairman.
I'll second the motion that we approve to let them go across.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well. I'm gonna allow, I know it's sitting on here, and we're gonna actually recess, not adjourn this meeting, but, is there any members would like to make a public, or not a public, but make a remark, any member? Ms. Willis, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I've already said that this is the lowest that we've ever funded the school system, and it troubles me.
Ms. Kaiser,
No, I don't think I have anything.
Peters?
I'm gonna honor what you asked.
So, I don't have anything either, so we'll, technically recess this meeting until June 29th, 2021. Thank you all. We'll be in recess, Mr.
Oh, we
Clerk.
got it.